Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of I Am Setsuna. I played it on the PS4, it's also available on the PC. I Am Setsuna is an RPG, and it's got some old school elements to it, some stuff you would see in some of the older Final Fantasies. Not super old, but older. You play as a masked mercenary, and he is hired to kill Setsuna. So when he finds her, instead of killing her, he obviously joins her and helps her in her quest, which is to go to some faraway land and basically be sacrificed in order to help prevent the monsters from overrunning the world. Like any good RPG, you meet some new friends along the way who join you in your battle against the enemies, and there's obviously a nefarious force out to stop the sacrifice, blah blah blah. You get the idea. While playing this, I was like, this kind of reminds me of the story from Final Fantasy X. Not dead on, obviously, but there are some parallels that are pretty easy to draw. Now, as far as the audio goes, there is no voiceover work, or at least none that I've heard, except for them shouting in what I believe is Japanese during combat. Otherwise, I think the music and the sound effects are really great in this game. I actually really enjoy the music. The sound effects, there are a few odd glitches here or there, but nothing that is horrendous or game-breaking. Now, when it comes to the gameplay, this game is, like I said, very much more an old-school RPG. You can go around the world map from point to point, and then when you reach an area, you go into it, wander around the village or the combat area, whatever it is at the time. There are no random encounters in this game, so that's a little different, but it's not that different from what's been done in older RPGs. One downside to the lack of random encounters is that if you feel like you're underpowered and you need to grind out some levels, well, you just gotta go back to a zone where there are monsters. Not a huge deal, but it kind of sucks that you can't just wander around the world map and take care of business. The combat is admittedly very forgiving, though. I never really felt like I was grotesquely underpowered and needed to grind out levels, so that wasn't that big of a deal. I will say, however, that this game definitely needed more save points around because, well, while it can be forgiving, if you do make the wrong decision at some points, you can get wiped out. And with that lack of save points, you may have to go back 2 or 3 hours. So, saving when you are on the world map is super important because you may enter an area and there may not be a save point. The combat is kind of top down and it looks like you should be able to run around the field, but you can't, and I think that's a little bit odd, but for the most part, it's very much an active time battle system, stuff that's been done in Final Fantasy for years. I remember it in, well, a lot of the games, most of the Final Fantasy games actually, which kind of makes it more turn-based than active, but it's still a lot of fun, especially if you're looking for something that's a throwback. Special abilities in this game I think could be better explained. I'm still not sure what I'm doing with those, but hey, I'm getting through the game just fine without tacking on new abilities. Another thing in this game that's kind of unique, but not entirely because I've seen it in Legend of Dragoon, is you select who you want to attack, how you want to attack, and then you can press a button at a specific time to do extra damage. Though the big difference in this game is you kind of have to build up a gauge to have that ability, so it's not just an automatic thing you do every time you attack. As for the controls, they work very well in this game. It being a turn-based RPG, they don't have to be super on point like they would with a first-person shooter, but they happen to work very well. Graphically, I love the look of this game. I think it's a very beautiful game. I like the character design. I like the art style. It's got this kind of hand-painted vibe. Makes it feel like just this beautiful work of art, honestly. Now, anyone who's watched my reviews, they know I am a sucker for the subtle details in a game. And, well, this game has one that I loved. Absolutely loved. Since the land is constantly covered in snow, when you're walking through certain areas, you leave pathways through the snow, but if you stay in the same area long enough, you'll notice that the pathways like fill with snow again and disappear. I love it. It may be stupid, but subtle details like that I just always love in games. Overall, I loved I Am Setsuna. It's an awesome game if you're looking for a throwback RPG. If you are looking for one, I absolutely recommend it 100%. That is for the PS4 right now, because from what I understand, the PC version has issues with controller support at the moment, and the keyboard controls don't feel so natural from what I understand. So in the comments below, why don't you tell me what your favorite old Final Fantasy is? Let's go anything PS1 and backwards. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, share or subscribe. Have a good one.